Alright, clay pot chicken. Romertopf is the German name for these, and whether my use of these stems from my time in Germany, when I think just about every family had something like this, what they call a Romertopf, which basically just means a Roman pot, which is in this case it's made out of terracotta, and the better ones like this are glazed on the inside. What you need to do with these is you need to soak them for a couple of hours before you use them, so that the clay pot is completely soaked through. And you don't put them into a hot oven, you put them into a cold oven and then crank up the heat from there. Alright, for this recipe I'm going to use a mixture of carrot and swede. You can use kohlrabi or turnip and carrot, and because I'm doing this one with chicken, I'm putting in some corn on the cob, which I've cut into these slices. You'll need some potatoes. I like to use a bit of celery in this recipe because I'm using chicken. About half a sweet onion, which I've chopped up, a lemon, which I've cut into slices, about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, which I've chopped up into bits. Your favourite chicken seasoning, or you can use salt, pepper and garlic seasoning and SPG seasoning, whichever you like. You'll also need some chicken, and I'm using here about 400 millilitres of chicken stock, which I've made up from a good quality stock cube. I've got a kilogram of chicken thighs. Are rather nice. I particularly like using thighs for this recipe, but you can use a combination of drumsticks and thighs, or any other cuts you particularly like with this. The crock pot cooking will make even the driest breast really juicy and delicious, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift the lid on this first. I'll get in here. Let's do that, get that out of the way, and I'll flip those over to put a bit of my seasoning on the bottom of them, and I'll just sprinkle that liberally over them. I've got about a tablespoon there. I'm using about 1/3 of it on the bottom. I'll just rub that in and flip that round, and again the same amount, about 1/3 of it, just about a teaspoon, heaped teaspoon on the top. You can just hit them with salt, pepper and powdered garlic if you like. I kind of like that. I'm going to put that to one side for a minute, and we can just start building up the top. Right, the top, you soak it for at least 2 hours, and then you just drain it. And what I like to do is just chuck in, first of all, my hard root vegetables. They go in the bottom, they form the base of this, and I'm then going to throw in my celery first, and then my onion. I didn't want to use a whole onion because it's chicken. I don't want to overpower it with that onion flavour, so I used half an onion for this top. And onto that now goes my lovely delicious sweet corn. Sweet corn and chicken really work well together. They rock. And make that, try and get that as flat as you can. Right, the next thing on there, I'm going to put some garlic, and I'll just drop that liberally all over everything. And then the next thing I want to do is build my layer of potatoes. I want the potatoes near the top because I want them to be a bit more roasty than boily, if you know what I mean. Now, on top of that, I'm just going to put a bit more of this seasoning, and then I'm laying on the chicken on the top. So lay the chicken pieces over the top like that. So all we're left with now is the lemons, a bit more seasoning, which we'll get on top. Spread that about a bit, and then dress it with the lemons, and that like that. Very nice. The last thing on top of all that goes my stock. I've got 400 ml of stock, and that should just pour nicely on top. Very nice indeed. Alright, all that remains now is to get the lid on that and get that into a cold oven. Remember, the cold oven's important. We don't want to put it straight into a hot oven, otherwise it might crack the clay pot. Alright, I've just put in the lid on this, and this now goes into the oven, into a cold oven, which we then crank up to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm leaving it in there for 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's going to go in for 1 hour 40 minutes in total, but the last 20 minutes I'm going to lift the lid off and brown it. Let's see what we got. Oh, super. Sorry about the steam. So what we want to do now is just pop that back into the oven just for 20 minutes to let that brown off a little more on top. Alright, check this out. And that is our finished dish. Let me just turn off the oven. And let's get you in close on that. That is a thing to behold. Right, I think that all that remains now is for me to get this plated up. So there we have it, served up with a nice crusty bread roll. There's the chicken, which is baked beautifully, and the broth, which is served. I like to serve on the side in a separate dish, just like that. Okay, all that remains is for me to give this a try and give you my opinion. Let's have a look at that. Lovely crispy chicken. And it's literally just, that's the bone coming away from the thigh, pretty clean. Let's give it a try. It's a bit hot, but I'll try it. Oh, that is amazing. And that's the chicken, boys and girls. It's truly amazing. Now all that remains is for you guys to make it for yourself. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe and be sure to click the bell icon to receive notification of all my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.